If Hannibal Lecter from the TV series Hannibal were real, could the FBI actually catch him? Now that's the question that I want to dive into so badly, because Hannibal might be the best written and the best serial killer in all of fiction, because what makes him so terrifying isn't just his killings, but the fact that he hides in plain sight, sitting across from FBI agents, consulting on FBI cases, and even manipulating one of the sharpest minds that the Bureau has, Will Graham. With Will's almost supernatural gift of reconstructing crime scenes makes him one of the few people capable of even sniffing out Hannibal's crimes, and yet for 2 seasons Hannibal is right under his nose. But here's where it gets interesting. If we stripped away the fictional FBI from the show, like Jack Crawford, Will Graham, and replaced them with the real FBI, could they actually catch Hannibal? Now this is the same switch I made in my Dexter video where I swapped out Frank Lundy's rather mid-task force for actual FBI agents, and in that case it made Dexter's life much harder because the real Bureau operates on a different level of efficiency than we really see on TV. Like Miami Metro and Dexter, practically incompetent in my opinion, but with Hannibal, the question is trickier. Would the real FBI be better equipped to spot Hannibal, or would it actually be easier for him to get away? And that's the scenario I want to break down. Let's start with the part that everyone knows is at the heart of any investigation. Evidence. Without evidence, how could you ever put someone behind bars? You can't just say, oh, I think this guy did it and expect that to work. And you definitely can't get evidence illegally either because that won't hold up in court. What you need is solid, concrete proof, and it has to tie directly to a specific suspect. In real world cases, evidence comes together in pieces. Things like DNA, fingerprints, witnesses, you know, the whole 9 yards. Now, investigators need to gather those little pieces and then they can build a case. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together until the picture is enough to say, oh, this is our guy for sure. But here's the problem. Hannibal Lecter is a master, and oh boy, I mean a master, at removing those pieces before anyone can collect them. And that's the secret to why he's been invisible for so long and why he's so dangerous. Now, sure, you would say, well, that's just any serial killer in fiction or real life that doesn't want to get caught. They try to leave no evidence. But Hannibal, he takes it to a whole entire different level. He doesn't just clean crime scenes, he erases them. And that's not something every serial killer can do. Hide evidence to the point where it's basically erased off the face of the earth? That's insane. Like, for example, he knows exactly which tissues in the body hold DNA that last the longest. He knows which containers or surfaces could accidentally contaminate a crime scene, and he avoids them. Like, he knows everything. And on top of that, he sometimes goes a step further and literally consumes parts of the victims. Yes, he is a cannibal. And then he serves it to guests that are investigating him. I kid you not, I am not joking. Like, come on. You would never suspect that if you were an FBI agent, that you pulled up to Hannibal Lecter's party and you were eating the people that you were trying to find. Like, not to be weird here, but that's completely genius. Like, think about what that means. Like, there's nothing that can take Hannibal to court, like literally zero. And when you remove those anchors, cases go cold fast. Now, the real life FBI forensic science can do incredible things, no doubt. I mean, it's 2025. We have crazy technology, but that technology works only if there's something to work with. If Hannibal leaves nothing, investigators are forced to rely on just patterns, like for instance the way the body is placed, or I don't know, signature details, or maybe like the artistic way he stages his crimes. Because in the show, the Chesapeake Ripper displays his skills in monuments and statues, kind of like, but even that is dangerous because those patterns can be misread easily, and there could always be a copycat killer, so that's just another thing. Now, when investigators don't have DNA or fingerprints to go on, they look for patterns in behavior, like they ask, I don't know, who looks strange and who has a history of violence. These things can raise red flags, and those red flags can then start an investigation without, you know, evidence. Well, I shouldn't say without evidence, but you know what I mean. But even then, there's another problem with that. Hannibal isn't the kind of oddball who sticks out like Dexter Morgan. In fact, he's literally the exact opposite. Hannibal is a respected psychiatrist, so respected that in the show, the FBI even brings him to crime scenes to help profile serial killers. Like, he's literally a person that genuinely looks like he's trying to help. Like, instead of trying to be the creepy neighbor who avoids eye contact, Hannibal is the charismatic man that you want to invite to your table, and also the type of person who you want them to invite you to their table. And also, this is the guy who is trusted with people's most private thoughts during therapy. Like, all of this acts as a shield, because when someone is seen as this successfully humble person with there's so much respect, like everybody has so much respect for this person, suspicion almost never lands on them. And even in the show, this is literally displayed. Like, for instance, when Will Graham says, "Yo, Alana, there's something wrong with Hannibal. He's kind of weird. Can you go suspect him of something?" And she's like, "There's nothing wrong with Hannibal at all." Like, he isn't just naturally charismatic, he's so damn manipulative. He knows how to make people feel like they're being understood, while at the same time guiding conversations exactly where he wants them to go. Hannibal can appear like this caring person while even being vulnerable as well, all while keeping the truth buried beneath layers of sophistication. And that's what makes him just so hard to catch, because like they said in the show, he's always 5 steps ahead of everyone. Not just a specific group, not just a specific person. I'm talking about everybody in the show. He is always 5 steps ahead, even the entire FBI. Now, here's also something important to point out, and I touched on this a little bit above, but without a Will Graham type of figure, there's almost no chance of catching Hannibal Lecter at all. In fact, in the TV show, Hannibal does eventually end up in prison, but not for the reason you might think. The FBI doesn't lock him up because of strong evidence, DNA, or a clean case that tied him to a crime. No, like, they literally could never get that. The reason he ends up behind bars is because he lets himself get caught. He literally turns himself in, and the only reason he does that is because of his complicated relationship with Will Graham. Now, this might sound kind of confusing if you haven't watched the show, but here's the gist. Hannibal is essentially in love with Will Graham in his own serial killeristic way. I know it's kind of weird, and I'm not saying it's weird because he's gay. I mean, it's completely okay to be gay, but I'm saying it's kind of weird that in his serial killeristic way, he loves Will Graham, and the only way he could stay close to Will was being locked away. Like, that's the part people forget. Hannibal didn't lose the chess game to the FBI. He lost on purpose because the one person who truly saw him for him was Will Graham. And in a strange, almost poetic way, Hannibal respected that. He admired Will's intelligence so much that he basically fell in love with him. Like, I even like to argue this, that Hannibal was so honored that Will saw through his facade when no one else could. Like, think about it. Hannibal didn't tell him, "Yo, I'm the Chesapeake Ripper." Will Graham had to find that out by himself, and that's why he was like, "Damn, okay. We're kind of two like-minded people. Since we're both really intelligent, I kind of like you." That's what I think happened. Or maybe everyone thinks that happened, I don't know. And because of that respect, or obsession, depending on how you look at it, Hannibal chose capture for Will Graham. Then you might say, wouldn't it be easier to see Will Graham if he was out of jail? But the reason why he chose jail is because he always knew that's where Will could find him. And outside, being free, it's kind of hard to find each other. Because Will said, "Yo, I'm leaving you for good." So he was scared of that, and he was like, okay, if he's leaving me for good, let me give him the kind of chance that, if I do want to see him, I know where he's at. Something like that. So when you take Will Graham out of the equation, honestly, the reality is that Hannibal wouldn't ever see the inside of a cell. Now, the FBI on its own would never catch him. Like, I truly believe if Hannibal Lecter was real, the FBI currently would never catch him. Like, they would need maybe a task force like the CIA to catch such a monstrous figure like the Chesapeake Ripper.